What is up? What is up, YouTube? How y'all doing? Hey, check this out, man. Y'all know we covering everything. Jay-Z distanced himself from Diddy in court. I'm done. It's funny because you would think, damn, you would at least go to the court building or something, dog. He ain't even... Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, man. So, I don't know. Check this out, man. I want to show this real quick.
Make a comment,
that's wrong.
Let's just get into this. Not playing.
Okay. Lil Rod, y'all.
Appreciate it.
That's Lil Rod right there. That's one of.
You already know it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You already
Justice
know
will
it.
be served.
Hey, behind the scenes, where we have attorney Esquire.
That's his attorney. That's his attorney. Okay. I don't see no bodyguards or anything. Jesus.
All right. I know you can't make a comment, but let's just get into
the line is long. Damn, the line is long.
A troubling allegation.
Hey, wait a minute, you don't supposed to play yet until I tell you to. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. Hey, Uncle Mike is going crazy. I'm almost finished. I'm doing just tweaking up some things, and I got to build I put all the information in the website first, all the information, and I was like, you know what? Let's do this. Let's put all the information in, make sure everything's spelled right, and make sure the information right. Now we working on the flow, make sure everything flow. When you click on this page, you click on that, whatever. Anyway, now time to make it look pretty. It don't look pretty. It looks real whack and ugly. Like a tech head did it. We looking for some designers. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell, baby. Let's check this bad boy out. Disclaimer.
Troubling allegation because, first off, there were inconsistencies with her story, and it was a very serious allegation. Okay. And for instance, she said that her father picked her up from Rochester, New York to New York City, 5-hour drive, and then drove her home that night. But the father did not remember any of it. That's something you would definitely remember. And she also said there were other celebrities she spoke to at the party. Those celebrities were not even there at the...
Viewer discretion? Yeah, it's about to get real.
Okay.
What you're about to hear is strictly for entertainment and educational purposes only. This is the actual courtroom testimony from the federal trial of Sean Diddy. Straight from inner city press. After months of whispers, leaked docs, and public pressure, the moment finally hit, and it hit hard. Sean Jay-Z Carter didn't roll up in that courtroom as the billionaire mogul or music king. He stepped in as a man facing some serious heat, standing right beside Diddy as his whole empire came crumbling down. Those freak-off parties? Nah, they ain't rumors no more. They're part of the official record now. And Jay, he got dragged in deep, whether he liked it or not. His name popped up in spots he said he never stepped, at events he swore never went down, victims he said he never met. But now he had to stand up and face it all, right in front of a jury, cameras, and the whole culture watching his every move. So what was Jay going to say? The courtroom was still buzzing after hours of lawyer back and forth. When it finally went down, prosecutors were about to drop key evidence from Cassie Ventura's explosive testimony. Diddy's team was all smug, flipping through papers like they had the game locked. Then, boom, the courtroom doors swung wide open. Not soft, not quiet, but loud, like karma stomping through in designer shoes. Jay-Z stepped in, rocking a midnight navy suit so sharp, it looked bulletproof. No glance to the side, no nod to the crew, no Beyoncé, just him. No Rock Nation team behind him, just Jay, walking solo into a courtroom that never thought they'd see him show up like this. He wasn't on the witness list, and no one expected him to be under oath. The room froze. People gasped. The gallery stood up halfway, hypnotized. One reporter dropped her pen. Cassie, sitting behind the prosecution table, leaned in, whispering to her lawyer. Even the judge shot a look like, what just happened? Diddy turned to the door, didn't even blink, just stared, like he saw a ghost from the past walking straight out the grave.
A troubling allegation because, first off, there were inconsistencies with her story, and it was a very serious allegation. And for instance, she said that her father picked her up from Rochester, New York to New York City, 5-hour drive, and then drove her home that night. But the father did not remember any of it. That's something you would definitely remember. And she also said there were other celebrities she spoke to at the party. Those celebrities were not even there at the
Jay-Z tried to keep his statement sealed, but the court said, no way, transparency wins. Now he was about to drop his biggest performance ever, not with rhymes, but with raw memory. He took the stand, swore the oath, and every eye in that courtroom locked in as federal prosecutors stepped up. It was about to get real. The room was hooked. Entertainment insiders, lawyers who closed million-dollar deals over brunch, leaned in like they were catching the first bar of a diss track. They weren't supposed to hear this, but Jay's voice came steady, calm, but tight, like a wire about to snap. I want to make it clear, he started. I came here because silence ain't an option anymore. Boom. That one line flipped the whole room. This wasn't Billionaire Jay. This wasn't the music mogul or fashion icon. This was Sean Carter, the man. And when he speaks, it's not just testimony. It's a straight reckoning. Jay didn't come in swinging with denials, didn't dodge, didn't dance around. He brought context, and that hit harder than anything. Yes, I was invited to Diddy's events. Yes, I showed up, he admitted. But let me be clear. What I saw and what I was told were two different things. Every word came out sharp, like he'd rehearsed it 100 times. His legal team froze. The defense looked shook. Was Jay helping their case or sinking it? Then the shocker dropped. I saw the setups, the NDAs, the phones getting taken, those private back rooms with curtains. I never went in. I never signed anything. But I knew, he paused, I knew something was off. And just like that, boom, the courtroom cracked wide open. That wasn't just Jay saying I was there. That was him acknowledging the system in play. The one Diddy allegedly ran, a system multiple women, Cassie, Dawn, Richard, described in graphic, painful detail. Jay turned to the jury. You see, in this business, there's parties and then there's parties. The ones I went to, the ones I stopped attending, those weren't parties anymore. They were setups, experiences designed to control, to hold power. The prosecutor leaned in. Did you ever see anything criminal? Jay paused. Not directly, but I saw enough to know I didn't belong there. Then he talked about a night that stuck with him. 2015, Miami, a party for Christian Combs' birthday. Jay said something felt off. The vibe was strange. It didn't feel like a celebration. It felt staged. And that's when he started pulling back. The room went dead silent. No one expected Jay-Z to drop all that. Not like this. They had masks, Jay-Z said, like real ones. The courtroom leaned in as he kept going. One man walked past me, head to toe in leather, wearing nothing but high heels. Some people chuckled, but Jay didn't laugh. I didn't laugh, he said. That man looked scared. Jay told the court he dipped out early that night, called his own driver, didn't even wait for the usual car service. I didn't want my name tied to whatever that was, he said. Then came the bombshell. The prosecution pulled out a blurry but authenticated photo. It showed Jay-Z, Diddy, LeBron James, and Beyoncé all in the same room. And right in front of them, a man in a latex mask kneeling on a velvet pillow. Jay stared at it. I remember that, he said. They told me it was performance art. I didn't laugh. I didn't stick around either. Then he turned, looked straight at Diddy, and said, "You knew people trusted you, and you used that."
A blistering statement. Jay-Z accuses Jane Doe's attorney of trying to blackmail him. He said further, quote, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not?"
Diddy's jaw literally dropped, but it didn't stop there. What came next took Jay's testimony from cleanup to full-on exposure. He told the court about a private convo he had with Diddy back in late 2018, right when whispers started to grow about investigations in the industry. "Diddy called me," Jay said, "told me straight up, they're coming for me. Be careful who you stand next to." Jay didn't waste time. He hit Diddy with the question, "Did you do anything I can't come back from?" And what did Diddy allegedly say? "It's just parties, Jay. Just experiences. Nobody gets hurt unless they want to." Jay's voice cracked just a bit. That was the last real talk we had. He told the courtroom that after that convo, he started cutting ties hard, skipped revolt events, pulled out of collabs, even told his Rock Nation crew, keep our brand away from whatever Puff's got going on. Then prosecutors dropped another twist, an email thread from early 2020 between Jay's lawyers and an unnamed source. The message warned that NDAs from past events could be used as leverage against people who were simply in the room, even if they didn't do anything. Jay nodded. I knew what that meant. And now, so did the entire courtroom. They were going to use silence like a shield. Jay-Z said, but I wasn't about to get trapped behind it. And then, boom, he dropped the line that exploded before court even broke for recess. He used to be my brother, but now I see who he really was and who I almost became by standing too close. The room went dead still. Every head turned as Jay-Z leaned forward in the witness chair, hands clasped, voice firm, but you could feel the weight behind it. The courtroom had already been rocked by the wild claims and chaos, but now the whole energy shifted. Jay wasn't just there as another famous name caught in the storm. This was a father, a husband, a man standing up for everything he built from scratch. I need to speak about my family, he said, locking eyes with the jury. Because when my name gets dragged, so does theirs. You could hear a pin drop. Jurors leaned in. Reporters froze mid-keystroke. Even Diddy looked up from his legal pad. Jay started laying it all out. The impact, the real one, on Beyoncé and their kids. Blue Ivy's old enough to read headlines now, he said. She came to me asking, what's a freak off? He paused. That's not something a father should ever have to explain. He painted the picture of what happened next. Reporters swarming their home, cameras camped outside Blue's school, and headlines mixing truth with pure fiction. His life turned into a circus, and his family was stuck in the middle of it. Then came the hardest line of all. My wife stood by me through everything, he said. But this was different. This wasn't just business beef or career heat. This was a bomb dropped on my family. And the worst part? It was all built on a lie. Then he had shut down one of the biggest claims, the one tying him and Beyoncé to that infamous freak-off in Miami 2015. Jay-Z calmly reached into a folder and pulled out receipts. Literally. We were in Paris, he said. It was our anniversary. We stayed at the 𝗟𝗡𝗞𝗦 inside the folder. Flight logs, hotel receipts, timestamped photos, video proof, and witness accounts. We weren't there, he said, plain and simple. Prosecutors took the documents, flipping through in silence. The courtroom shook. Jay didn't just speak his truth. He brought proof. The judge asked the clerk to confirm the dates, and everything checked out. Jay-Z had receipts, literal solid proof, but he wasn't done yet. He turned his fire toward the beast behind it all. The clickbait culture, the gossip blogs, the messy headlines that let these rumors run wild.
Entry value, yes, it happened 24 years ago, right? More than 24 years ago. But in the allegations, there's a few things. Number one, there's allegation that another celebrity was present at the time, right? In addition to other people. Number two, there's the claim by the victim, right? That she left, that she went and she was seen by a gas attendant who saw her in distress.
When did we stop asking for proof? He asked the room. When did an accusation become a conviction? It wasn't just about him. My name doesn't stand alone, Jay said. It's tied to my wife, my kids, my entire legacy. I've spent decades building something clean. He continued. Something that uplifts the culture. And with one headline, no facts, no receipts, it all gets smeared. He didn't name drop Beyoncé for sympathy or clout. He kept it real. Talked about her as a mother, blindsided by a mess she had nothing to do with. I came here to speak truth, Jay said, and to make sure no one, not even a billionaire, gets to bury people in lies. His tone sharpened as he addressed another major claim, that infamous Miami party, allegedly hosted at Gloria and Emilio Estefan's mansion, the so-called freak-off night, where multiple witnesses supposedly saw him. Jay didn't hold back. I want to be very clear, he said. I have never in my entire life been to a party at Gloria Estefan's house. Not in Miami, not anywhere. Then he pulled out even more documents, security logs, flight info, charity event programs. He walked the courtroom through every single hour of the date in question. On the night they said I was in Miami, he said, I was in Los Angeles at a charity dinner hosted.
Come on, man. See, when you 100% know that they wrong and you innocent, then you pull out all these receipts and you pull out all this stuff because you know they wrong. So let me show y'all they wrong. What about the guy that's saying that Jay-Z is his dad? And you keep avoiding it. You don't even say nothing. You ain't doing nothing. You wouldn't even take the daggone test. You won't take the DNA test. Now you ain't jumping out there saying, oh, he lying. I'm going to prove he lying. You ain't doing that. You ain't doing that. What you doing is, well, you know, you got to catch me. Catch me as you can, gingerbread man. Yeah. Yeah, this is crazy, man.
By the Sean Carter Foundation at the Peterson Automotive Museum. He laid out the proof. Here's my speech. Here's the guest list. Here's a photo of me and the mayor. Boom. The court clerk threw it all up on the screen. Museum security footage showing Jay-Z entering and leaving to the exact minute. But the part that hit hardest wasn't just the evidence. It was the why. How a made-up story with no receipts turned into a viral mess that spiraled out of control, nearly taking down everything Jay had built. Jay-Z didn't hold back. He went straight at the way lawsuits play games with vague wording and the sneaky power of innuendo. You don't need a lie to be loud, he told the court. You just need it to be repeated. He broke it down. His name got thrown into the mess, not because of any eyewitness, but because he'd been to a few of Diddy's events in the past. So now I went to a brunch, he said, and that means I'm guilty of everything this man's accused of? That's what we're doing now? He told the jury how the media twisted it all, how one fake sentence about him being somewhere he never was turned into, wildfire headlines, tweets, viral threads. Just like that, he said, my name got dragged through digital mud. Then his legal team dropped receipts, data showing how dozens of outlets ran with the same false claim. Not one of them reached out. No one asked for a comment. Nobody checked for facts. The judge reviewed the report and nodded at its credibility. Jay turned straight to the prosecution. If you're going to drag someone into a federal trial this big, he said, you better come with more than gossip and guesses. Then Jay's testimony took a darker turn, more twisted than anyone expected. He talked about the sea of wild conspiracy theories that exploded after Diddy started crashing. He glanced at the jury and shook his head. I've been called a lot in this industry, he said. But Illuminati puppet master, manipulator, murderer by association, that's a new level of crazy. He broke down the madness, how TikTok detectives and online sleuths started connecting him to everybody. Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, Jeffrey Epstein. Suddenly I'm in all their stories, he said. They say, where there's smoke, there's fire, Jay added. But sometimes that smoke is just fog machines and YouTube edits. Then he went there. Jay-Z called out specific claims. People saying he had something to do with Aaliyah's death, or that he helped set up the deaths of Michael Jackson and Tupac, or that he paid hush money to cover up Diddy's so-called freak-offs. Not one of those claims has any proof, he said. Not a single shred, but they get repeated because it gets clicks. Then he held up a printout of a Reddit thread, one with thousands of upvotes full of crazy theories tying him, Beyoncé, and Diddy into some elite inner circle. And all of it, just noise, loud, damaging, and completely unchecked. He held up the printed Reddit thread. This is what passes for journalism now? Jay-Z said, shaking his head. Then he broke down the real-life fallout from all these wild theories. I've had family members followed, business deals dropped, even death threats. All because somebody on the internet decided to connect dots that ain't even there. But then he flipped the script and admitted something most people in his position never would. Maybe my silence made it worse, he said. I didn't speak up sooner because I figured the truth would be obvious, but maybe I underestimated how fast lies can spread, especially when they come with dramatic music and slick editing.
And then he wrapped it up with a heavy dose of reality. I'm not asking you to like me, Jay said. I'm asking you to listen, to think, to demand proof. Because if we don't draw the line right here, right now, then none of us are safe from whatever they try to spin next. He leaned back. His testimony was done. But the silence that followed, loud whispers had already turned into headlines. But now, Jay's words had shifted the whole mood, drawing a new line in the sand.
Some new developments tonight on the civil lawsuit accusing rappers Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z of rape. The accuser has now dropped the case.
We're all going to take a disgusting trip to his seedy, awful world. You know, the man has no class. He has no kindness in his dark, dark heart. And he's depraved. That's my opinion. This is a depraved, disgusting individual about whom I wish to hear nothing after this trial is done.
Then the room tensed up again. The lead prosecutor finally stood up. His name had been buzzing for days. Known for rattling even A-listers, he was sharp, aggressive, never missed a beat. He adjusted his glasses and locked eyes with Jay-Z, who sat calm but ready. Mr. Carter, the prosecutor began, you say you were never at Gloria Estefan's home. You've given logs, photos, timestamps, and that's compelling. Jay-Z nodded, because it's the truth. The prosecutor nodded too, but started pacing. By your own words, though, you've attended events hosted by Mr. Combs in the past. High-profile ones, brunches, fundraisers, award shows. Yes, Jay said steady. Public events, industry stuff, nothing like what's being described here. Then came the push. The prosecutor paused, leaned in slightly. Did you ever witness anything inappropriate at any of those events? Jay hesitated, just a beat, but long enough for the room to feel it. No, he finally answered. I saw celebrities networking, music playing, the usual. And you never saw Cassie Ventura at any of these events? The prosecutor asked. Nothing that made you uncomfortable? Everyone waited. Jay's eyes narrowed slightly. The next words were about to carry weight. Jay-Z's jaw clenched tight. Cassie was around a lot. She was Diddy's partner, he said, but I never saw her in distress. And I definitely never witnessed the stuff she's now describing in her testimony. The prosecutor shifted tone. So when you hear her claims now about coercion, abuse, and these so-called freak-offs, you're saying you were completely blindsided? I'm saying I didn't see it, Jay-Z answered, firm and sharp. And if I had, I wouldn't have stayed silent. The prosecutor gave a slow nod. That's what Russell Simmons said too. Gasp. The entire room inhaled at once. Jay-Z blinked. For a split second, that unshakable poker face cracked. Objection, his attorney snapped. Sustained. The judge ruled. But the damage had already been done. That shot landed. The prosecutor kept pressing, hinting that Jay-Z's longtime connection to Diddy gave him access to more than just music clout. He floated the idea, no proof, just strategy, that maybe Jay-Z knew more than he was letting on. The jury watched closely. Some raised eyebrows, others leaned back, clearly torn between doubt and empathy. And then Jay-Z delivered the line that stopped everything cold. I'm not here to protect Diddy, he said. I'm here to protect my name. He looked at the jury. No stutter, no dodge.
Of course, the allegation is that Mr. Combs did the same thing. And so if those facts are actually accurate, it would require an investigation by prosecutors. And if true, right, you could pursue a criminal.
If I was part of that world, if I even suspected it, I wouldn't be testifying. I'd be on trial. Boom. Jay-Z stepped down from the stand. As he adjusted his tailored jacket, he gave a quick glance toward the gallery. Beyoncé wasn't there, but somehow her absence echoed louder than any shout. He exited through a side door, flanked by security, but inside the courtroom, chaos moved in slow motion. Whispers turned into full-blown murmurs. Heads shook. Some faces looked stunned, others nodded, vindicated. Reporters in the gallery tapped out texts, flipping pages, snapping out headlines. Outside, phones lit up like fireworks. Jay-Z breaks his silence under oath. And just like that, the story went global. Jay-Z versus the prosecution. Jay-Z defends Beyoncé and his family from Diddy fallout. No need to wait on a verdict. The internet had already dropped one. But inside that courtroom, something messier was unfolding. The jury stayed locked. Blank faces, no hints. Juror 4, a middle-aged black woman in a beige pantsuit, kept scribbling nonstop in her notepad. Juror 9, A young guy with a sharp military fade kept his eyes locked on the now empty witness chair long after Jay-Z had stepped down. And one alternate juror? He sat biting the cap of his pen, brows tight, dead silent. In the gallery, a former bad boy intern, caught by the sketch artist, was seen wiping tears from her face. During recess, she told the reporter, "He talked like he didn't know, but we saw him at those events. Maybe he didn't see what we saw, or maybe he just looked away." Cassie Ventura didn't flinch. Sitting at her lawyer's table, she kept her expression ice cold throughout Jay-Z's testimony. But the moment his voice cracked talking about Blue Ivy, she looked up. Not with sympathy, more like a question. Was he really protecting his family or just protecting himself? Even Diddy, who stayed mostly expressionless throughout the trial, started twitching, tapping his pen faster, eyes darting. Jay-Z's denials weren't just testimony, they were a signal. The ship was going down, and everybody was trying to find a lifeboat. The judge called a short recess, and when the courtroom spilled into the hallway, it got loud. Opinions clashed. "Jay showed receipts," one person shouted. "He came clean. What more do you want?" Others weren't buying it. "He's just saving face. He's been in the mix forever." And right in the middle, the truth, slippery, foggy. Nobody could fully see it, but everyone had something to say. Back at Rock Nation HQ, tension filled the air like smoke. Jay-Z's team had gone dark. No official post-testimony statement. Phones buzzed, PR reps paced. The silence was louder than any quote. One thing was clear. Whether Jay-Z was dodging bullets or speaking his truth, the world was watching. And nobody was walking away clean. Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, kept it short and sharp outside the courthouse. "Mr. Carter testified truthfully and courageously. We stand by his integrity. But let's be real. The world wasn't sitting around waiting for legal statements. Within 12 hours, every major outlet, TMZ, the New York Times, and everyone in between was picking apart Jay-Z's testimony like it was a Super Bowl halftime show. Some praised his honesty. Others said it was just high-level PR cleanup. Beyoncé's name trended for 36 hours straight. Her publicist stayed silent. Fans were split down the middle. Half were riding hard for her, the other half asking some uncomfortable questions about how deep the Carter-Diddy connection really ran. Meanwhile, prosecutors were back at the drawing board. Jay-Z didn't wreck their case, but he definitely complicated it. He made himself relatable, pulled his family out of the fire, and shifted the spotlight. But in doing so, he sparked something bigger. The industry's dirty habit of hiding behind implausible deniability. The DA's office put out a low-key statement. "While Mr. Carter's testimony was significant, our investigation remains ongoing and extends beyond any one individual." Translation: "This ain't over." And then boom, 50 Cent jumped in. Never one to hold his tongue, he posted a pic of Jay-Z on the witness stand with the caption, "Nice performance, but we ain't forgot them brunches, my guy." It went viral in minutes. After that, more celebs came crawling back into the mix. Alicia Keys reposted a quote about truth, cutting through noise. Questlove dropped cryptic eye emojis. Even Oprah posted a vague story about building from ashes. Jay-Z's image, it took a hit, but it didn't fall. His testimony might have been risky, but it was a move that said one thing loud and clear: silence ain't safe no more.
Jay-Z's image, it took a hit, but it didn't fall. His testimony might have been risky, but it was a move that said one thing loud and clear: silence ain't safe no more. And in a trial full of secrets, power plays, and broken loyalties, one thing was certain. This courtroom wasn't just putting Diddy on trial, it was putting an entire era on blast. Jay-Z survived the stand, but the real trial, the one about legacy, loyalty, and the lines we all ignore, that's just getting started. If you made it this far, hit that like, subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who needs to see it. And as always, see you in the next one.
As always, see you in the next one. Man, Jay-Z is distancing himself from all this. Yeah. They not saying nothing, but he not the only one. None of them saying anything. Except for the guilty ones. They got to talk to make it seem like they not there. Think about it. The guilty ones ain't saying nothing too, because they like, hey, you got to prove it first. You got to prove it first, and then I say, defend myself. You should be there helping your boy. And you should be the first one to say, yo, I've been trying to tell him to stop doing that mess or something. Pleading the fifth ain't making it in this case, man. Look here. I'm going to get on up out of here. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Somebody should be saying something. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell him Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.